Hey folks, what's up? Thanks for checking out I Suck at Painting. So you may have seen these Green Stuff World liquid pigments already, but maybe you're not sure what they're all about or how to even use them. Well, today we're going to take a look at a really easy way to use these liquid pigments to make rust spots. Alright, so in this video we are going to be painting rust. We are going to be using Green Stuff World liquid pigments. In this case we're going to be using these three. We have dark rust, light rust, and orange rust. Underneath these we are going to need some kind of texture. I'm going to be using this dry rust from Vallejo Game Effects. You could also use Typhus Corrosion. If you don't have either of those, another thing you can do is to use a very dark brown paint and mix in some baking soda, or there's also a texture additive made by VMS, which you can add to any paint to make it a technical texture paint. It's pretty cool. So we're going to start out with the dry rust, and for this tutorial I'm going to be doing the axe of this guy. This is a guy I'm working on currently. I haven't started doing any of the rust effects on him, so we're going to use this axe blade to do this. Now the first thing that we want to do is, especially if you're using this dry rust, is to make sure that this is shaken really well. You want all this aggregate to be mixed in with the liquid. So I've already shaken this, had it on the mixer for a while, so it should be good. And usually what I like to do is, before I pour this, I just want to hold it upside down for a while and get some of that grit to flow down to the bottom before I squeeze it out. Okay, now that we've got this on our little palette, I have more than I wanted, but that's okay. We kind of want to make sure that we get all the way down into the bottom when we grab our paint, to make sure that we have the gritty stuff. For this video I'm just going to demonstrate on this section here, right around this little join where the little tube matches this bracket part here. And what we want to do is we're just going to dab in this texture everywhere that we want the texture. I'm not really worried about the color because most of this is going to be covered, but I'm just going to go right around this little connection point here. And we're going to let that dry, and we'll come back in with the liquid pigments. And this first one is this dark rust, and this is a rather purple color. And we're going to use this on what would be the oldest part of the rust. So if you look at real pictures of real rusty things, you see the newer rust on the edge of the rusting area is nice and bright, where it's older and in the middle it's a lot darker. My best advice for using these is, for this method anyway, is to use them full strength and stipple in. And on my piece here, this part towards this little joining area is going to be the older part. The edge obviously is going to be the newer rust. So we're going to kind of want to do this gradient out from the dark purple and brown out into the brighter orange. So I would go across your whole area, dotting this in, give it a second to dry, and then see where you need more. So I'll go ahead and continue with this, and I'll come back and we'll go into the next part. Okay, so hopefully you can see this this first rust tone, this dark rust. It's pretty subtle, and that's fine. That's kind of totally what we want. We just want a real subtle variation in the darkest part of our rust. So next we're going to go on to the light rust. What we want to do is just kind of go a little bit into our dark rust color, but we're kind of going around it. We don't want to cover it. We just kind of want to go on the edge of it. But we can go a little bit in just with some random dots here and there. But we want to be careful not to cover all that color. So I'm just going to go in right on the edge of where that other color stopped. And again, we're just going to do small, very tiny random dots. We want to be as random as we can, while still staying on the edge of that color. This is going to be a little less subtle than the first color, but as it dries it's going to darken up a little bit. So what you want to do is go around, do your dots, let it sit, let it dry up, and then go in and add more where you want them. So I'll go ahead and do this a couple more times. You're probably going to end up doing each of these colors like 4 or 5 times, letting it dry in between. That's my best advice, so you can really get the look you're going for and not put too much on when something's still dry, and you know. Anyway, I'll keep going on this, and we'll be back in a minute. Alright, so that last pass has dried, and it is now time to move on to the orange rust. You can see this gradient is already much brighter than it was before. And this is going to be our final step. It's this orange rust. These liquid pigments do come in a lot of other colors. If you want to see a really good video about using these liquid pigments in different ways, check out 52 Miniatures video that he made. I will link to it in the end card and also the description. It's really good. He does a lot of different stuff. This video is mainly about just rust spots. So our last pass is just to do the same thing, but we're going to go onto the edge of the previous color, and again we're just doing the tiniest little dots. One thing to keep in mind with this last step is that this color is going to be much brighter over the silver parts than it is going to be over the brown rust texture paint. Because at this step we are out to the edge of our texture, our original brown paint. So you can actually see this stuff dry. You can see it dull out, and that's really when you know you're ready to apply your second pass. Now again, it's important that we stab this on in tiny dots. We don't want to just, you know, brush it, because that will not look natural. Okay, so that is our last step, and as you can see, it's much brighter out on the edge than it is towards the center. Alright, so I'm going to let that dry. So, in the comments, let me know how you guys like to do your rust. Hit that bell button so you can see more videos as they come up. I'm going to throw some pictures up of this guy and another model that I used this same technique on. So I hope you guys have stuff to paint. I hope you have time to paint said stuff. Hope you guys stay safe, stay sane, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.